Okay. Emily, give us like an elevator pitch. Why don't you give us like, I don't know, just like a 2 or 3 minute, boom, just hit me with it. I'm a CEO. You're trying to get my attention. Give it to me. Go for it.
So we believe every great brand is a spiritual experience. And we work with defiant leaders who are ready to be courageous in the world to help them uncover and articulate their brand language and their rollout and engagement strategy. And then we provide support to their CMO and their marketing team in order to take the intrinsic brand that they are out into the world in a way that's so organic, it does not feel like marketing, and it doesn't trigger the marketing bias in the market. So we're guides for our clients. We are collaborators. We're non-prescriptive, so we don't tell you what your brand is. It flows out of you, and we help you articulate in a way that is resonant in the market. We are individuals who love art, and we bring art into everything that we do with our clients. We hope that everything that you experience with Root and River is an artful experience. And that may be actual, I sketch and draw throughout our discovery sessions and throughout our process of working with our clients. So it may be artful in that way, or it may be artful in how Justin is bringing words together and sort of pinpointing something you've been meaning to say for all of your life. But our value is around that. Yeah, that's around art.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Thank you for that. Do you want to elaborate, Justin? You want to add on there?
I would only add just a couple of things. One is that the main deliverable of our work, if you're pitching a CEO or a CMO, the main deliverable of our work is language, because language is at the root of everything. Language, like you look at it from a big societal standpoint, is language creates the movement that creates the hierarchy that becomes the culture. Mm-hmm. Like everything comes from language. It says in the Bible, in the beginning was the word, as an example of that. Is that you got to get your language right. And what a lot of organizations do is they get their infrastructure right, they get their amplification strategy right, because that's what ad agencies do and PR firms and stuff, but their language is boring, uninteresting, unoriginal, cliched. And one of our many metaphors is that we help you make hot sauce, not ketchup. If you want ketchup, hire an agency.
I like that.
We're in the hot sauce business. And so, but the hot sauce is the language that's then experienced through the culture and the customer experience and those other elements. The other thing I would add here is that there's a specific type of company we don't work with. We have a warning label on our website. We don't work with assholes. We have a firm no asshole rule. We don't work with companies that aren't trying to that are not some embodiment of goodness. Like they don't have to be B Corps or nonprofits or anything, but where the culture of the organization is organized around love and service and goodness and humanity, things like that. If you're not that, then we're not a fit. And then the third one is we can't give you courage. And it takes tremendous courage to be a brand. And we can't give you that. That's non-transferable. And so tepid, timid, worried about what other people think, CEOs, not for us.
Gotcha. Who are you targeting? Startup phase, under 100 million, under 50 million? I mean, who's your target as far as company size goes?
It really depends on the leader, that individual leader and the marketing leader. We typically don't work with startups because they've got a lot of other things that need to fall into place before they can dig into language and commit to consistency. And a lot of startups are still in that experimentation phase around the business model. Now, if you have a clear idea of the business model and it's rooted in a rich and deep belief system, and you want to make the mission the center of your brand, then we would consider that. But typically, startups in our experience aren't there yet. We've worked with plenty in the past and have found that discovery. And then to answer your question, typically our clients, they're from kind of $1 million to 50 million. And they tend to have smaller teams, maybe 30, 50, 150, because we're great when we can come in and once that brand language is articulated, we train and we roll out in these concentric circles in a way that is inclusive and then engages the entire organization in the practice of branding. And we consider branding a practice for everyone in the organization to be well equipped to do every day. So that's, I would say, where our sweet spot is if pressed to create one.
Okay. So Justin, so what I heard Emily say there was you got revenue, you've gotten started, you've reached proof of concept to a certain degree, you slapped up a website, you got some, you're living, you're breathing, you're cashing checks, but you probably didn't spend a lot of time on good language and things that need to be defined. You just stuck a product out there and it started selling, and oh shit, now we got 10 employees and we're doing 5
Yeah.
million and we don't even know
Yeah.
what our mission
Yeah.
statement is or values or anything else.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a very common thing with us.
Okay.
It's where what I think is a common thing, Steve, is that there are the founder or the CEO or the CMO. They're in love with their product, but they're not in love with their brand. And that's great that you love your product, but nobody else gives a shit. So you have to be in love with your brand too, and or at least want to fall in love with your brand. You need to want to do that. And so there does come a time when you can sort of, it's kind of like I'll use being a recording artist, like being a musician, like an independent musician, where you can cobble together the band and you can do a GoFundMe and get a record made and everything. But if you, at some point, you got to go pro, you got to turn pro, as Stephen Pressfield talks about. And that turning pro is often where we come in. The early stage stuff, unless it's their second or third startup and they have learned their lesson, because wisdom comes from experience, then, but it's at that point, usually I would say, what do you think, Em? Like year 3,
Okay.
like after startup is about the first time they start going, our message isn't very good and our competitors are kicking our ass and we're hiring salespeople and they don't know what to say. And then what creeps in, 2 things: an identity crisis, which is fatal to a brand, and drift from values, because you start to say whatever you need to say in order to get that deal.
Well, don't you do that in the beginning too?
Yeah, but that happens. We're a little bit like you say yes to everything and you're hustling, but that kind of hustle is unsustainable if you're trying to create an enduring, ubiquitous brand.
I like it. If you think today's tip or guest interview can help someone you know, please share this with them. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you can be notified when we release a new episode. Our show features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. You can visit Riderflex.com to learn more about us and get information on the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Thanks so much for listening and have a great day.